Hey everyone. I wanted to share my experience that happened earlier this morning because I'm really proud of myself. And the whole purpose of me sharing this is that I want anybody who's going through grief, I want to encourage you to acknowledge and celebrate your progress. Because as much as we're stuck in this grief journey, we have a lot of bad days, but then there's things that you will do or that you have done that is progress. And you need to acknowledge and celebrate it and let yourself be proud of yourself for that. I think it's really hard for us to, or it's actually really easy for us to get stuck on all the things that are going wrong, all the triggers, all the negative conversations, or, the things that don't help us. And sometimes we forget to celebrate the good things that we've done and the good things that we've taken a part of that have helped us in this journey. So, my whole point with sharing my story is that I hope I can encourage somebody out there to let themselves be proud of themselves and how far they've come, even though sometimes it feels like you have not made a single step. I assure you, you probably have made several. So, yeah, that's my whole point. But this morning I had my follow-up appointment with my physician, and it was for two reasons. The first was we were going to discuss whether I was going to go back to work or not. So if she needed to continue my disability or release me to go back to work, and my antidepressant medication that she put me on about a month ago. So, knowing my doctor, she's very supportive, and so I knew she was going to basically leave the decision about going back to work up to me, whether I felt ready or not. So I knew like 90% of the decision was going to be mine. And to be completely honest, I literally did not know what I was going to say up until I was probably in the waiting room to wait to see her. Like, I still didn't know. Am I going to tell her I'm ready to go, or am I not ready to go? And it's just mixed feelings. Emotionally, I know I'm not ready, and I know I'm not going to be ready for a really, really long time. But I also know that if I don't force myself now, I don't know if I'll ever go back. And the reason why I say that is I mentioned in one of my older videos when she said, "Oh, I think you're depressed," and she put me on the antidepressants. And then I talked to my husband and I was like, "I don't think I'm depressed. Do you think I'm depressed?" And he said, "Yeah, I think you are." That came as a shock to me because honestly, I felt like I'm not depressed. I thought they were crazy. And it wasn't until a few weeks back where I was just sitting in bed one day and I was like, shit, I think you're depressed. Because I would have a really good day and then it would be like 3-4 days in a row where I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, I literally was getting out of bed just to take Jojo to school and bring her back. And then the rest of the day I would just be in bed watching SVU or Unsolved Mysteries. So that was my day. Or those were my days. And I had no energy to talk to anybody. I had no desire to go out. Actually, the mere idea of going out by myself gave me like anxiety. And so I think that was when it finally hit me like, there's a problem here. You're definitely depressed. And depression scares the crap out of me because I've struggled with anxiety for over 10 years. And although anxiety is really scary and traumatic, you won't die from a panic attack. It feels like you will, but you won't. You won't actually die. Depression, on the other hand, you can. Suicide and depression go hand in hand. And if you let depression go so deep where it's untreated and you just keep feeding into it, it's really, really hard to get yourself out of it. And this I speak from me learning about it in school and from people that I've seen have depression. So depression itself scares the crap out of me. And which I think is why I was in denial for so long. But then I think it hitting me and realizing like this is real, I need to do something about it. I do need to do something about it. I can't let myself just deteriorate into this illness and, possibly let it get worse. I can't do that to myself or my family. And when I was talking to my therapist about it, about how I felt like, there was days that I would make tremendous progress, but then I would fall back into this like depressive, isolative state. She was saying that it's this like downward cycle, that as much as you need the time off from work, it's almost, it's almost like it does you no good after a certain while, because then you just keep isolating yourself and you're feeding into that depressive state. And I think that's what's happening with me, is that because I don't have to mingle with anyone, I'm feeding this depressive state of mine. And then I continue to not want to mingle with anyone. And so it's just a cycle. And so I decided that in order for me to break this cycle of me not wanting to mingle and me feeling like I don't have energy to do anything, I need to break it. And I need to force myself to go back to work so I can at least have some sort of distraction with my friends at work, and at the same time continue my medication and continue my therapy. So that was the reason why I decided I need to go back to work on November 1st, because I feel like if I continue to stay home without anybody forcing me to get up in the morning, I'm just going to make this problem worse. And I don't want that. I really don't. It scares me so much to think that in a matter of like a month or two, like my life could change so drastically. And so I don't want that. So I made the decision that I want to go back to work. I think in the first couple weeks I'm going to go back part-time, and then after that I'm going to go back full-time. So she gave me a letter releasing me. So I needed to go to give that to my manager, but I also had to stop by for something else. And my friend last week, that she also experienced a stillbirth last year, she recommended that I go to work, like go visit my job before I actually have to go into work, because she said that that's what she did, and she just did not want to have a breakdown on her first day back at work. And so she kind of wanted to take a baby step. And so I took her advice, and I was just like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go, and we'll see what happens. I went in, and everybody was happy to see me, and they all greeted me and gave me hugs. And my manager was very excited to have me back. I know they've had a really hard time being shorthanded. And yeah, I was really proud of myself that I went in and I didn't break down. I was really, really anxious, that although like my heart was pounding really fast, but I did it. I went in and I said hi to everybody, and I gave them the letter, and we talked about kind of what my schedule was going to be the first couple weeks, and then I left and got in my car. The drive home was hard because there's only one main road to get to my job, and the road to leave my job, I just had flashbacks of the day that I rushed from my job to the hospital. That whole road, it's probably like a mile long, and it's a residential area, so you can't go really all that fast. So it was just really hard leaving, because it just brought flashbacks of what I felt at the moment, and just like me crying and like praying to God and all that. And so that was hard, but I'm glad that at least going in there and talking to everybody was not like a complete disaster. So I got home and I was just really, really proud of myself. Proud that I took that step and that I did it, and that it makes me feel like I'm going to be okay. I know I'm never going to fully heal, because you don't just get over your baby. You just don't get over them, you know? And I know I'm not going to get over my little baby boy, but I know that I'm going to be okay. And as long as I continue to look at the bright side of things and remember how much light I had and how much light Hector had, that's going to motivate me to keep going, you know? I think it was a good thing, and I think it was a good decision for me to take the step of saying, you have to go back. And I went back for a few minutes and, faced what I was fearing for so long, which actually didn't end up being that bad. The other thing is I vlogged when I had my friend's wedding, which she is also my coworker, and about half of the people that work at my job were there. And I was terrified to go to that wedding, and I was so terrified I was almost not going to go. But I knew I couldn't do that to my friend because I know there's a lot of expenses that come with a wedding, and getting like a head count and everything. So I was not going to do that to her. So I ended up still going. I was so terrified to see everybody. And I think in the beginning I was a little awkward because it's just like, it's so hard when you have, I see this all over Pinterest. Somebody who has dealt with a stillbirth, you have a before and an after, and it's so true. You're not the same person. Things change in you that as much as you wish you could go back to being the old way, you're never going to be the old way. And for me, it was, how can I talk to these people the way I used to talk to them, because I was so outgoing, and right now I feel so like I just want to be in my little bubble, you know? And so at first it was a little awkward, but it ended up turning out okay. I was so happy and proud of myself that we went to that wedding, because I realized, and I've always known this, I've worked at my job for over 10 years. I grew up there. And these people I've been friends with for a really, really long time. And I've always considered them like a second family to me. I don't just see them as coworkers. I see them as friends, as family. And we invest, ourselves to, you spend more time with these people than you do with your own family. And it was nice to kind of see like how much they care about me and how much I have them as a support system. And I think being away for so long as I have, I mean, I've been gone more than 2 months. I needed a reminder of that. I needed a reminder that this is they're your friends, they're your family, they care about you, and they're going to have your back when you come back. So I needed that to help me make the decision. And I'm glad that I did. And I'm glad that I have them to count on, and to hopefully make my transition back to work easier. So yeah, I just wanted to share, because I'm proud of all these little steps I've taken, even though they were terrifying as fuck. They were scary, and you just don't know what to expect from yourself and from others when something like this has happened. With any kind of loss, you don't know what to expect. And I'm glad everything turned out the way it did. And I'm so, so, so proud that I took those steps, even though I was scared and I was terrified. I pushed myself to do them. And I'm glad I did. And so I encourage you, if you're going through a grief process and you're really scared to take a step, maybe take it. And if you do, you'll see that it's not as bad as you make it seem in your head. It's not as bad. But if you end up, coming out of that situation, don't forget to praise that, to celebrate it, and to let yourself be proud, because it's a lot. It took you a lot to get to that point. So, yeah, I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of me. And I hope to catch you guys in the next video. But thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.